So, we're going to talk about cartoons. We're going to talk about cartoons and whether or not they're getting worse or maybe they're getting better since the 90s, because that's the decade we were both born in, the late 90s.
Late 90s.
1998, which isn't really in the 90s.
Oh, will you leave my age
But
alone?
anyway, so we're going to talk about whether or not cartoons are getting better or worse with time.
With time, I think they're getting worse,
She
actually.
thinks they're getting worse.
I do think they're getting worse.
I-
Because, I don't know, they aren't fun to watch anymore. They just seem silly and annoying, and I don't like them.
and annoying, and I don't like them.
Leave me alone. I don't.
I'm kind. There are a lot of really bad cartoons on TV right now. There are a lot of really bad shows in general on TV right now. Shows being marketed to kids.
Shows that
But
should not be marketed to
Shows
kids.
that probably shouldn't, because they're dumbing down our kids. They're making our children stupid. But I feel like there are changes that are happening in regards to what can and cannot be put on TV and what can and cannot be marketed towards a certain age group. And with that comes maybe more freedom for people to do what they want, but with all that freedom, some people are taking it and then just being really generic and unoriginal with it because they don't feel like they have to be anymore.
Okay, what's it called? Like you were saying. God damn it! I just forgot what you just said for some random reason.
Can't
I had it
swear
on
into
my
the
head.
microphone. What's
I
wrong
didn't
with you?
swear.
Okay.
Gosh, Kareed.
Say words.
I am saying words. You were saying.
The camera
Okay, I think
is
it's also
looking at you.
because I know it
Don't
is.
look at the camera.
I'm not. I'm looking at you, Kareed.
Okay.
Okay, but like you're saying, I think it's mostly because also society is changing too, and there's a bunch of things that are more acceptable.
Like what?
I don't know, like a lot more kids are cussing, a lot more violence is going on. Like that's more just that everyone knows about. Power Rangers. I just thought of it.
Power Rangers is ridiculous. It's so dumb. Like, it's one of the dumbest shows. It's one of the dumbest shows, like, ever.
But I mean, like
Just because
it's
each episode is
childhood.
exactly the same.
Sorry.
I watched one season of Power Rangers.
I think there's only like one good season.
Which
There's-
which season is that?
Like the original Power Rangers. Is like,
Wrong.
what?
No, it was. I don't even know the name of the. It was
I'm trying to
animals.
think.
They were animals. Power Ranger animals.
Oh. Well, I
Yeah,
didn't watch
it was
that.
animals. They turned into animals.
I didn't watch
don't
that
remember how
one.
many there were. The plot in Power Rangers is just, bad guy. He's taking over the world. Stop him.
Must stop him.
Every episode, we're going to have a
Did you
different bad guy
ever-
that's going to show up, and then he's going to fight a little bit, and then you're going to beat him, and then he's going to come back supersized, and then you're going to beat him, and then next episode. Rinse,
Like-
repeat.
What about Thundercats?
Like the reboot?
No,
I didn't watch the original.
No, not the original was better than the cartoon.
I haven't
Cartoon
even watched
didn't
the
like.
original. I liked the
The original's
reboot.
better.
I thought they did a good job with the reboot.
They did fully. Yeah.
At first, I didn't care about it, and then I started watching it because it was on Toonami. But I watched it, and I liked it. Thought it was good. Thought it was nice. I don't know how it compares to the original.
What were your thoughts about Samurai Jack, though?
When it was on,
Yeah.
I remember very vividly watching that show with my mother at like 8 o'clock at night, which was late back then. You don't know anything about that, but there was a time when 8 o'clock was like bedtime, and you had to go to sleep at 8 o'clock.
It was like
because
9
the government
o'clock.
was enforcing that law, and
The government being
and
your
we
parents?
would stay up past that time, and it was like a big deal because you weren't supposed to stay up past 8
8
o'clock. And it would come on, and my mom doesn't even remember that. Like, every time it's on, I'm like, you remember Samurai Jack? My childhood? With you in it?
No.
And she's like, nope, sorry, kid. I don't know anything about
I like
that.
Samurai Jack. Like,
Samurai Jack was great.
Samurai Jack
And
was
again,
amazing. Violence.
If the violence happens to things that aren't human, it doesn't matter, and it passes the censors. Because there was a lot of chopping and cutting and fighting, and it was really stylized because it was like samurai. It was like, "Fya, fya, fya," and they'd like show it like 5 times, like, because, and that was just the style of the show. So it was just really in your face violence for kids. But it didn't matter because 1, they weren't human, so who cares about them? And 2, I mean, I don't know what 2 was, but but I liked it.
It may not be a 2.
Fun fact: Will.i.am sung the theme song for that.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
the only thing he's done of any significance to culture at all. That's So Raven needs to come back.
That's what Raven does need to come
It needs
back.
to come back right now.
I didn't like the spin-off. The spin-off show
There
was
was
alright.
Corey in the
Corey in the
Corey-
house.
Cody?
Corey in the house.
Cody?
Corey.
Corey?
It was Corey in the house.
Corey in the house.
Corey in the
He was
house.
in the house.
Yeah. He'd be
The
in the White House.
That was before we had a black president, too. So
It was.
it didn't even make sense. Why is he in the house? He didn't need to be in the house. Phineas and Ferb.
Every day they do something
Hey Phineas,
new.
what are we gonna do today? We're gonna build some crazy machine, and then maybe we'll sing a song. And then
They always
meanwhile,
sing a song.
Perry's fighting Doofenshmirtz, and then Doofenshmirtz fires the laser, and it breaks
then,
the
you know,
thing.
Perry
and
always
Candace,
wins.
Mom, and all that. And that's the episode.
I don't
know
know.
if these people watching this want to hear the entire plot to Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel.
Is it like the same thing?
No, I mean,
I like
Disney bought Marvel, and then they thought, hey, why don't we put Marvel characters in our Disney shows, because we can do that now because we bought them. So even though Spider-Man, that annoys me unless Disney has something to do, because the thing about Marvel is that Spider-Man is owned by Sony. Like Sony owns Spider-Man, everything there is to own about Spider-Man, and Marvel doesn't own Spider-Man.
It's weird.
So when Marvel wants to do something with Spider-Man, which doesn't happen anymore because they don't own Spider-Man, they can't. Like the Avengers. Wouldn't it be cool if Spider-Man was in the Avengers?
It would have been
no.
cool. Well, no, it
He
wouldn't.
can't have Spider-Man in the Avengers
yeah.
because Sony owns Spider-Man and Marvel owns everyone else. So how, I ask you, did Disney get Spider-Man to be with Thor and the Hulk and Iron Man in Mission Marvel? Why can't they, like, why would Sony give the all clear for that and then not for the movie?
They should have given. That's
Like, they didn't have Spider-Man in the Avengers movie. They're not going to have him in the second Avengers movie. Why?
It was in the
Why the
first one.
cartoon?
They were
Right.
just-
And I mean, because a lot of people will say that the best way to is to just bring back the '90s. Like, just bring back what I'm
wish
used to.
they could.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Because then we kind of hate it, wouldn't we?
I don't know.
Because I don't think
probably.
if we could have progressed
I
on
mean,
those.
they can't keep us entertained forever, but I mean, bringing back the things that we liked doesn't really progress us.
It doesn't. We just
so-
kind of stay in one spot.
Yeah, we stay in the '90s. I think that really, I know Adventure Time. It has its problems, but of the cartoons that are out right now, I feel like it is best suited. I don't think it's ahead of its time in any way, but I think it's doing the best with where we are right now. And if cartoons want to progress, I think that they can follow that model. Just the model of having a serious plot, treating the audience with some respect instead of doing whatever it is that Uncle Grandpa's doing,
Or Annoying Orange.
or
like-
Annoying Orange, which I don't know anything
I
about
don't
that.
understand.
But popular culture comes in peaks and valleys. Sometimes it's good, like in the '90s, and right now we're
It's
kind of
valley.
kind of on the yeah. But with every valley, there comes another peak.
I believe we're in a valley, and
Yeah.
hopefully we get out of it and find like a good area where finally cartoons come back and they thrive and they're finally good.
So where does all of this leave us? The completely random subject changes and topics that we've had, even though the question was at the beginning what we didn't answer the question. We leave that to
getting
you,
worse.
the viewer, to decide. Just take all the words that we said and figure out what to make of that.